Welcome to How to Be a Humane Leader Without Losing Your Job. We're here to chat about humane leadership in a way that's real and relatable, tackling work-life challenges and offering practical advice to navigate tough decisions. Whether you're leading a team or navigating your own career, we've got you covered. I'm Chris Olerking, a Fortune 100 IT leader, and with me is Roberto Torres, a startup engineering leader. We'll dive into real world stuff, share experiences, and offer guidance on leading with compassion while keeping your career on track. Today, we're going to discuss how World Cup football or soccer impacts productivity. What is the right amount of socializing at work? Roberto, I don't watch sports. I don't watch football. I don't watch soccer. I don't watch football. I don't watch baseball. I don't watch basketball. But I still think socializing at work is important. I'm guessing at least one of those sports I mentioned you socialize with at work.
Yeah, actually, I'm a big sports fan. I'm not a soccer, not a excuse me, fan, but either you're in the wave or you become a hermit. So I go with the wave, actually.
And World Cup soccer or football is impacting you directly because it's right by your house.
Yes, actually, we have 5 games in Mexico City out of 11 that we have in the country of the World Cup, which begins tomorrow. So yes, indeed, we have. Um, it is impacting me not only close to the stadium, which is a quarter of a mile or 400 meters away my home from the stadium, but also at the company. Which, by the way, you might not know, but Mexicans are really passionate about soccer, about football. So it's in the word of mouth of everybody. Everybody. Let me tell you, I created a fantasy along with my family and friends, and to see who's going to win and everything. So yeah, man, it's it's
But it's got an impact on productivity, right? Every minute that we spend talking about football or World Cup soccer or any other sport is time that we're not actually doing our job. And as humane leaders, you know, bonding with our team is an important aspect. So,
yeah,
how do you balance the right amount of socializing, and in particular with World Cup soccer taking over the country? How do you balance the right amount of socializing but still getting the work done with your team?
true. It is true. If we let everything to be out of control, we won't have productivity at all. But I think that we cannot go against this because it will backfire us. I think the most important thing over here is to understand that this is something bigger than what is happening in their minds. It is bigger. So rather instead of fighting or combating this, I think that it is to acknowledge and to add some limits. And by the way, is evaluating these trade-offs to understand that if I say the opposite, there will be discomfort within the team. So rather than saying no, let's say yes, but this. Okay, when is Mexico going to play? Let's say it is tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to play 1 p.m. Central Time. So we'll block 2 hours of that time for them to be watching the game. Before that and after that, they will be working instead of you have to work at that time.
Yeah, a compromise, right?
Yeah,
And some discussion up front ahead of time. One of the things a humane leader always does is when we see the potential for any kind of conflict, right, is try to get in front of it, discuss it before it becomes a big problem. It's much easier to work with your team, your coworkers, your fellow humane leaders before something escalates into a much bigger issue. So I almost always try and sense when do I think something might be a challenge like that? And let's bring it up front. Hey, everybody, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the conference room with the big screen TV, and we're going to watch the game for 2 hours. I know sometimes it can go longer, right? Isn't it? Or is there a dead time? See, I don't know anything about soccer, or football. Is it a fixed time?
It is a fixed time because the game it lasts 1 hour and a half, right? Previous 15 minutes of pre-warm, 15 minutes of
Break
between
in the
two
middle.
time. Yeah, like a break. So 2 hours it will work, you know?
So you can set a time and get the team together, and then you build camaraderie with that. Now, I don't hide my lack of interest in sports. I would participate. So if they have the conference room set up with the big screen TV or the projector in your auditorium, if you're a big office, like we had auditoriums that sat over 100 people, and you're going to broadcast it on that, I would participate. I would go and have the discussions, but I don't hide that I don't follow it, that I don't know it, right? So never be fake. Don't be excited about something when you're not, but set the boundaries and deal with the problem before it gets out of control, where half your team is rooting for one team, the other half is rooting for the other team, and they won't speak to each other because one team won and the other one lost, right? So we certainly want to um, be prepared. I guess, right? Is always be prepared, but it's much better to deal with that and make some proposals before it starts to be a productivity problem. Because certainly, especially with the World Cup games going on for, it's not just one event, right? It's going on for days. This could significantly impact you meeting certain deadlines if all of a sudden unplanned for employee unavailability starts to impact your productivity. So you got to remind the team, look, we love our Mexico City team, but we still need to meet the deadline that we set for this project. Let's make sure we get it done.
Yeah, and actually, I had to correct you with this. It is not Mexico City team. It is Mexico as a whole country.
Oh, okay,
The
okay,
FIFA World Cup, it is countries versus countries. So
okay.
it is not Mexico City. It is the whole country. But let me tell you, I think it is important to mingle with your team during these 2 hours of the soccer break, even though you might not like it, such as myself. But if you're going to be at the office, because there is no way that that the game cannot be that you could have a home office or it will be a non-labor day. If you're going to be working at that, mingle, and you don't like the sport, mingle with your team. I think it's one of the best bonding sessions. They You don't have to fake it as you mentioned, but hey, I don't like starter, but I like being with you guys, and I'm going to cheer. Hey, so you could be seated next to someone and say, hey, who is this guy? And and cheer. And when they score the goal, you scream and you shout, yeah. Or when they miss a goal, or there was the teacher is going to be stopping the goal, also that cheer, say, but be original, be not original, be true. Because
Right,
when
yeah.
you
Don't
fake it,
fake. Yes, don't fake and lie.
yeah, because when you lie, people are going to spot it and they say, this ain't a good leader. This is a boss. No?
Exactly, exactly. And I think that there are periods in time for many sports fans, right, where there's peaks and valleys to it. During the off season of World Cup, people probably don't talk about it much at the office, and so socializing in general, not just during the big peak sports seasons, is important. So a humane leader, even though they may not be into any of the sports like myself, I still tried to socialize with the team to understand what were some of the other common things that we might have, um, in common that we can relate to and things like that. So if you're not into World Cup soccer, but you are into movies, or you're into home remodeling because you just bought your first home, or from experience, I've done a lot of home remodeling, and I know Roberto, as a young man, he just bought his first condo, and he's gonna do some painting or do some drywall repair. Offer advice, socialize with your teammate about the experience that they're about to encounter that maybe they don't have any experience with, that you can share your wisdom. So socialization doesn't just have to be sports, especially when, like myself, I don't really follow any of the teams. Socialize on something you do. There's got to be some common threads with your team that you can spend some time, an appropriate amount of time, discussing non-work related topics. And that's going to vary. But the right answer is not zero, never socialize, but it's also not 7 hours out of 8 in the office you socialize, right? So you've got to come up with your own personal level that's appropriate for your office culture.
Yeah, indeed. And not only culture, by the way, not only office culture, but also culture of who you are. And now we are different. I am a Latino, you know, and being a Latino doesn't mean that I have to live here only in Spanish-speaking countries. I could be well, there are many Latinos in the States, worldwide. And I think that Latinos we're different from other cultures, maybe from the, yeah, from other cultures. The thing is, it is good to socialize. It has to have some boundaries. Maybe not written boundaries because it would be too harsh. But as a human leader, we have to understand other cultures within our team. Is it only from one country? Is it only from one different culture, or a mingle, a mix of different cultures? And we have to set up maybe not ground rules, but understand how far this socializing might be. I remember that an acquaintance of mine used to work at the American Embassy in Mexico, and uh, their uh, their leader uh, was uh, was not understanding how Mexicans tend to talk before getting to the office, during the first minutes of the office, taking a coffee, and then beginning. He thought, hey, why don't you begin working when you got into why you had to talk too much? And it was because it was different cultures. I don't mean that one has to be wrong and the other one correct. Both are correct, but you have to understand uh, how to manage people from different cultures. And that's why I mentioned that we are kind of different. That doesn't mean that we cannot be productive. That doesn't mean that we don't want to work. But people in different cultures are either adamant to the work. I go from 9 to 6 or 9 to 5, and I only stick to my work. Or people are saying, oh, I don't know, 15 minutes before my work time, and I will stay maybe half an hour because I can mingle, I could talk with different people. So I think it's important to understand differences and making some rules that everybody will follow.
Yes, and it's being that awareness of that allows you and should make the humane leader think about objective measures. We've talked about this before too, right? Is that culturally, even within a country, culturally everybody's going to be different, and ultimately we need to judge our team based on productivity and output, their successes, And so as long as the socialization, whether it's about the weekend, the movies, the sports teams, the World Cup, as long as the productivity is fair and you're judging the team objectively and our objectives and our goals are being met on the schedules that we've agreed to, then who cares if they talk about soccer for an hour in the office every day? As long as the productivity is there, we're getting our jobs done. And I will urge, just as I said previously, if you start to see it drift out of control, well, maybe there's an event going on. Maybe it's a World Cup. More talk about soccer and football than normal. Okay, I'm going to let it go for a little bit. But if it starts to impact our deadlines, and it seems like we're not going to deliver something at the end of the month like we promised to, I am going to have to mention it to the team that, hey, don't forget, we got three weeks left to the month of June. Then we've got to get this done. It's, the World Cup's great, but keep in mind, keep your eye on the prize, right? The goal is to finish this next sprint by the end of the month and get it into production and X and Y and Z. And I'm objectively measuring us all on those goals. Doesn't matter whose goal gets scored in football. It's our company goals that matter. And as long as you don't let the socialization get out of control so far that all of a sudden you have to do boss behaviors because bad things are happening. Somebody's drunk in the office, something bad happens, right? Sometimes you got to bring out your inner boss. Alcohol's not allowed in the office, no matter what. Doesn't matter if our team Mexico wins. If the rule is no alcohol in the office, then no alcohol in the office. And you'd hate to have to bring out the boss out of the humane leader to enforce those kinds of rules, right? So instead, the humane leader deals with these things up front that they're concerned might be a problem. Hey, we've got this deadline at the end of the month. Hey, don't forget, no alcohol in the office. I don't care who's winning the World Cup. We are not violating that rule. I am not going to have the HR vice president come down to my office and get in my face because Team Mexico is almost winning the World Cup. So set the boundaries early. Talk about things that might be an issue with the socialization ahead of it becoming a problem, and then hopefully it'll be smooth sailing, and hopefully Mexico wins the World Cup.
Thank you for the wishes, but Mexico doesn't have a chance, by the way.
I would have no idea.
Yeah. Well, total true with everything that you mentioned. And let me tell you something. I think that, well, in this World Cup, you could do the following. It will be 5 weeks of soccer. It doesn't mean that every single day there will be matches. For instance, tomorrow there will be two, the inauguration, and there will be another one at the afternoon. But still, there will be, for the first 3 weeks, almost every day there will be a match. One, at least. I think it will be 2 or 3 within a day, but there will be many, many. So people will be distracted. And we have set some rules about this, but what you could do is use a gamification mindset. And gamification is using the mechanics and rules of a game into the business world. So what you could do is, as the same as maybe Mexico, States, Canada, Spain, or whatever, are getting into different matches and winning or making goals, etc. We have these goals as well. We have to either be delivering this product or this feature into this date. So we are going to be looking at where we are and what we have to do to reach that goal. Or if you're in a sales team, it is the same. We have to sell $10,000 by the end of the week. How are we going? Focusing on that and bring like the joy of numbers. One thing is one to the World Cup, and the other to the brain, to the business world. So people will feel engaged because there had to be an engagement of, as they have in the World Cup, they have to have an engagement of the business world of what they have to do, either sales, accounting, IT, finance, operations, whatever. They have to be, and you cannot fight. There should not be a fight between each other because they're going to be a loser. But if you evaluate trade-offs and you understand that both to be done, there could be this socializing in the World Cup or on these days and be productive. And the humility, as you mentioned, has to have the objectivity, not the to be unbiased about this. But most important, a humility has to communicate. If there is no communication and only stays in your mind, everything will go to mayhem. Otherwise, if you communicate, I don't know, through Slack, through email, and verbally to the team, there will be success in this.
Absolutely. Completely agree. Go Mexico.
Thank you. I don't think that I have my favorite, by the way. But
If it's
well,
not Mexico, you're not cheering on Mexico? Shame on you.
I'm cheering for the games that they will be playing, but it is
Okay.
something else indeed.
Very good. Very good. Well, it's good you're honest about it as a good humane leader should be.
Yes, and one thing is if it's possible, if the culture of the company allows it, let the team members go with a favorite jersey of the team they're rooting for. It could be either someone from some country from the World Cup or uh, another team from the professional leagues. But this will let them, be part of all this during the the days in which, in this case, in Mexico, Mexican companies will let the will play. But when it to be Canada or States, United States, or whatever. But I think it's going to be good. And talk with HR. I think talking with the HR about how to being productive and not crossing the boundaries, it will be also good.
Yes. Know your company's rule set, forwards and backwards, up and down, left and right. It's important that humane leaders know the rules because ultimately you will be held accountable.
Indeed, indeed. Great. Well, with this, I think we did end this episode. Is going to be lasting the World Cup 5 or 6 weeks. I don't recall. We will be discussing this, and I trust that you will have an amazing week, Chris.
I will have an amazing week. I hope you have an amazing week too.